going to do our top 10 guilty pleasure films, or top five, sorry, 10 altogether, but top five. So who do you want to start? I think you started last time, so I'll start this time.
Okay.
So,
Before we start, what is your idea of what a guilty pleasure is? Because I was talking with Megan about it, and I realized she and I had a kind of different idea of how we saw that. So I wasn't sure if you and I had the same issue.
it probably is because I saw a lot of people's lists online and I was like, that's not, like I saw people's lists that had like Clash of the Titans and Labyrinth, and I'm like, that's not a guilty pleasure. To me, a guilty pleasure is a movie that I enjoy in spite of the fact that it's kind of indefensively bad. Like there's no, and I'm not
Right.
even saying like it's so bad it's good. It's just a movie that I enjoy unironically. I have a lot of,
Hmm.
I
Which
have
would be
some
very
connect
Go
hmm?
ahead.
I have some kind of connection to it maybe or something, but it's just a movie I enjoy. I have no defense over my enjoyment of the movie. I just enjoy it. So
Okay. Yeah, and that's where I'm at. Very different than like a Neil Breen or Tommy Wiseau. Whereas you and I would be watching that because it's so bad.
right.
Like we
Yes.
would we'd be getting a laugh out of how terrible it is. Whereas this one, it's like I don't care. I still love it, or I
Or,
still really enjoy it.
or Exceptional Beings. You can go back and watch my review on that they just posted. A
Yeah,
couple.
yeah.
I just posted this past Monday. I have no idea when this episode is going to go. Go back and find my review of Exceptional Beings. That is
I
a
watched
movie
it.
that is so bad it's good. I
I
I
watched that
I
one.
the
I think
review,
at
or
the
did you
same
actually
time.
watch the movie?
No, no. I watched the review. I haven't
Oh
watched the
yeah,
movie.
no, you gave me good notes on that one. I did appreciate your notes on that. Yeah,
Oh, that's right. I did. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I guess the line would have to be that it's got to be a movie that you at least realize you can't defend it, because there are some movies on maybe on our list that other people would still try to defend. So obviously everyone's list is going to be very different.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
As you said, I think, didn't you say that Enchanted Beings or whatever had like a 7 or 8 out of 10?
Exceptional Beings. Yeah, but it was the opposite of a review bomb. It also had 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, but
Oh
it was
yeah,
the
yeah,
I think
that's
it was
crap.
the opposite of a review bomb is what that was.
Yeah,
Um,
that's total crap. Like
yeah,
the best movies don't get 100%. Like,
no,
no.
no. It just means that like less than 50 people had voted or rated it is all that was. So.
I was dying laughing when you were talking about us getting into a feud with whoever that guy was.
Oh, it's Film Threat, and don't worry.
Yeah.
I've on my review of Bezos that it may have already been released. They gave Bezos a positive review also, and so I'm once again because that movie made me so mad. Oh, I hated that. I hate that movie.
I can't wait.
Yeah, yeah. By the time this comes out, everybody who's watching this should have probably already been able to see that. Go back and look for the Bezos review. Yeah, that's a bad movie. And a year
Yep.
from that release, it's so bad I redid my review, made it short and almost without any humor at all because I was so mad at it. So my original review will post 1 year from now, just to reiterate to the point of how bad it is. So we can
Uh,
okay.
all right. So what would be your number five then?
My number five, and I'm going to be honest here, I'm cheating a little bit on my list. Okay. So my number five is actually three movies.
Okay. I see.
It's Leprechaun 3, The Man from Hong Kong, and a movie called Turkey Shoot. These are all the movies of a director named Brian Trenchard Smith. So he's an Australian director that kind of came in the Aussie explosion in the late 70s. It's the explosion that gave us like George Miller, the guy that did Mad Max movies.
Oh,
So there's a lot of really good guys that came out of it. But Brian Trenchard Smith is known for very, very low budget films, but also very fun films. And that's what all these movies are. I think The Man from Hong Kong is probably actually fairly defensible. It's actually the stunts in it are spectacular, at least. So on that level, I think it is defensible. But like Leprechaun 3, I have no defense for actually enjoying that piece of garbage. Like it's so bad. I don't even like any. I don't watch any of the other Leprechaun movies. I just like Leprechaun 3. It's the one where he goes to Las Vegas. It's full of really really corny humor, bad jokes, bad special effects, and I just get a kick out of it. And it just makes me happy when I watch it. The director also did Leprechaun 4, the one where they go to space. I did not add that to the list because that one's not as nearly as much fun. Even though you do get Leprechaun blows up and gets big at the end of it. That's a fun sequence in 4. But other than that, no. And Turkey Shoot is kind of a post-apocalyptic film, and it's a fun B movie. It's not a good movie. Yeah, so very anti-authoritarian type movie. But so that's the films of Brian Shinchard Smith is my number 5 pick.
Did he do all of the Leprechauns or just 3?
No, just 3 and 4.
Okay, because I saw Leprechaun in the
In the Hood? Yeah,
That
no,
was the
he
only
did
one I
do that one.
saw. And I remember going to a friend's house and they wanted me to watch that one with him, and I was like, all right. And the entire time I'm just like, what the hell am I watching? But I could not look away.
Yeah, no, the Leprechaun 3, the Leprechaun movies are kind of notorious for being so bad they're good. But the third one I kind of unironically enjoy. Like there is something about it that I really do enjoy as a movie. And
Didn't the first one try to be like a actual horror movie?
yeah, I think it was like Jennifer Aniston's first acting role. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess they just kind of figured out what they were. But it
Yeah.
worked because I think didn't they send him to space eventually?
No, that was number 4 by Brian Trencher
That's
Smith.
4. Okay.
But then he comes back and he goes to the Hood, or is number 2 in the Hood. I can't. I think number 5 is in the Hood, or maybe number 6. I don't know how many. I haven't seen all the Leprechaun movies, so I don't know which one. But yes.
I don't think it matters really. I mean,
No.
it's just a big cycle.
No.
Well,
Okay.
my number
So
5 is the Expendables, the massive action movie with Jason Statham, Sylvester Stallone, all the above. I actually saw it in theaters when it came out, and it's in many ways it's a typical action movie, except when it came out, everyone wanted to see it because it had every action star that's ever existed or currently is alive at least. And besides just having some fun special effects, there's really nothing unique about it. Besides the fact that it makes you want to go to the gym and take steroids for 3 hours. But I really don't care. I love it. It has like the perfect balance of taking itself too seriously while at the same time knowing exactly what it is. Having Stone Cold Steve Austin as like one of the bad guys is just perfect. He has no real purpose there, but I don't care. The only flaw is that he did not do the Stone Cold Stunner. If he had done that, then this would be number 1.
yeah, I think I can't forgive those movies for the way they treated Jet Li.
Yes,
I
that is a
don't.
problem. They don't use him well.
No, and I think for me at the time, especially when those came out, I'm such a big martial arts fan. I was like, "Ooh, cool, Jet Li in I really wanted to see Jet Li in action." And I know you got to split up the time between all of the different people, but I felt like his segments were a little weak. I was a little underwhelmed by his stuff, and yeah, I felt they did him a
Well,
disservice.
it did, and a big problem was that Stallone and Statham they were the big guys, so
Yeah,
they had the big paychecks. They were going to get the most of the screen time. And then when you've got at least I want to say 10 different guys in there, including Dolph Lundgren, I think
yeah.
you've got to split it up. And unfortunately, him being smaller and this being the movie that's all about size, unfortunately, they just kind of push him off. And they don't they stopped being fun, I think, after the first one. But partly because they just become the exact same movie,
Yeah, and
which I
don't they end
I
up
guess that's bad.
becoming PG-13? Like they really start toning down the violence too
I
in the
think they
later
do.
series. Yeah.
Well, I think they saw that they actually were able to make a decent amount of money with the first one, so they're like, all right, let's go ahead and expand the audience. And they've actually got a fourth one coming out this year. It's going to have 50 Cent in it, so not seeing that.
Did the
Not only not 50 Cent.
did the Expendables ever come out? It was supposed to be the all-female version of the Expendables. Did that ever
Oh,
come to fruition?
I have no idea what. I've never even heard of that. I have no idea
Okay.
about that. I guess they'd have like Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, I think like Cynthia Rothrock, I think was maybe assigned to or attached to it at some point.
Sandra Bullock can come out there and just stomp on somebody's foot, I guess.
And just drive a bus and then drive a boat. Yeah, that's all she does.
That and raise poor homeless children who turn out to be football players. But despite its flaws, I love it, and I will watch it again and again until my deathbed.
Yeah, that's fair. Hey, my list gets much worse than that, so I'm not gonna shame you on any of your choices.
I think the reason I put it at number 5 is because at the end of the day, it is just a cheesy action film, and I think everyone's got one or two cheesy action films that they still enjoy.
Yeah, I definitely got, and I mean, I think that's what The Man from Hong Kong kind of is in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
It's a kind of a stunt spectacular. It's not really a plot
Right.
movie. Yeah. So my number 4 is Kung Pao Enter the Fist. This is it's a comedy
That's not a guilty
movie.
pleasure at all.
It's a comedy movie that I can't remember. Steve Odenkirk, I think, is the guy. He took a bunch of 70s martial arts films and he dubbed over them, and then he inserted himself in all the action sequences. And it is such a stupid, stupid movie, and it makes me cry laughing. There's one particular
Well,
sequence where I think he's, one of the guys gets like hit in the groin by a bow staff, and he's the bad guy, and he's got like balls of steel, and so he doesn't get hurt at all. And so the next sequence is he's like, okay, he's got 4 guys around him. Okay, you're going to hit me with these staffs, and you're not going to let up or anything like that. And they just start wailing on him, and they murder him with the staffs, and he's just lying there motionless, and they all just keep beating him, and they just slowly, they're like, oh, maybe we should stop, and then they all just run away. It's the dumbest sequence ever, and it makes me cry laughing every time I watch it. I love how stupid this movie is. It's not good. There's no defense of it. The fact that they even did like a Matrix joke with the cow milk with the udder, it shoots milk out of its udders. So stupid, indefensible, entirely indefensible. But I love that dumb movie. Yeah.
uh, I'm with you. It's not on my top 5, but that is just a wonderful, wonderful piece of cinema. It's got so many memes, so many funny moments. Like you could just start like you could go into some like Walmart or Target and just shout out some random line from that movie, and somebody's gonna know what you're doing,
Oh
and
yeah.
they're gonna love you for it.
Well, all you got to do is if you walk around and make squeaky noises with your shoes, like there's going to
Right.
be somebody that gets it. Or if you go wee, wee, wee,
Yes,
like
I
somebody's
love.
going to get that. Yeah.
Me and my friends did that to each other for years when we watched that movie. Oh, it's such
Uh,
a wonderful movie.
I just
Uh,
remembered the scene where the old man he's like coughing and dying, but they insert like a CGI fly flying into his mouth, choking him. Like, there's so many stupid, great things that they do in that movie. Yeah, I love it. It's stupid. I love it. Yeah.
It's her kind of stupid. All right. Well, for me, number 4 is the Family Man. I don't know if you've actually seen this.
That's the Nicolas Cage one, right?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It's a Nicolas Cage kind of a Christmas film, kind of not. Basically, starts out he's just your stereotypical rich, successful uh, businessman. You know that at one point he could have chosen love, or he could have chosen money. He chose money. Um, and early on in the movie, he encounters Don Don Cheadle. Actually, is trying to rob a bank, or no, he's robbing a convenience store, and Nicolas Cage basically talks him out of it. So somehow, it's never explained, and it doesn't matter. Don Cheadle is basically able to transfer Nicolas Cage into this kind of alternate reality, and where he can see the life he could have had he stayed home with I think it's Tia Leone. She would have been his wife. And in that reality, he's kind of your typical family man, just your average guy. And obviously, early on, he's freaking out. He wants to go back to his rich apartment and all that stuff. And there's nothing about it. Again, there's nothing about it that's unique. But it's just this kind of feel good family movie that I watched it when I was like 7 or 8, and I really enjoyed it then. And it just kind of had this like sort of like a early Christmas nostalgia that every time I watch it, I just get very happy and just very comfortable and calm. It's not the most Nicolas Cage of Nicolas Cage movies. He's got a couple moments where you see his kind of mannerisms and his kind of facial expressions come out, but he's fairly tame for the most part in the movie.
Yeah, I remember the entire movie, and I mean, I'm not trying to, say you can't like this. I remember being kind of subdued. I think I was actually bored by it when I watched it.
It can be a very boring movie, and I think maybe even if it wasn't Nicolas Cage, I would have been bored too. But somehow for this particular movie, it kind of feels like a Hallmark movie, like a more serious Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
But
like
I don't know.
A well-produced Hallmark movie is really, yeah. That I think that's a good way
Somewhat
of describing it. Yeah.
Somewhat well produced.
Yeah.
Yeah, but despite all that, I don't know. It just holds me the entire time. I don't know how many times I've watched it. But yeah, it's just like I said, it's not. I can't really defend it, but I don't care. Hence the list.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really remember that movie all that much. I remember it came out when I was working at Blockbuster, so I got it. I think I confused that one. He came out with another movie around the same time called The Weatherman, and I think I
Is that one?
confused the
I think
two
the
of
Matchstick Men
those.
came out around that time too.
Yeah, but Matchstick Men is a Ridley Scott film,
Yeah.
and that one
It's very
has
different.
that one has Sam Rockwell in it. And I'm a big Sam Rockwell fan, so yeah, I'm able to separate that one. But yes, I could see how someone could actually conflate all three of those.
Yeah.
So my number 3 pick, and for a lot of people, this is a movie that's so bad it's good, but for me, I kind of unironically love it. Deep Blue Sea.
Okay.
So it's the shark movie where they make they're trying to cure Alzheimer's, and they end up making the sharks too smart, and the sharks kill everybody. And it's bad. It's hokey. It has the most shocking and surprise kill I witnessed in a theater when I was, because I think this came out when I was in college. I remember Samuel L. Jackson's death. It was just the most shocking thing I've ever seen in a movie. The other thing is, I'm a huge Thomas Jane fan. Like I don't think he gets really enough credit, and he's kind of sunk into, like, he's making movies with like Bruce Willis, who, I mean, he's no longer making movies now. He's probably not long for this world. But yeah, Thomas Jane like has really started making some crap. But I I really think he's a compelling, interesting actor. Loved him in The Punisher. Loved him in The Expanse. Great actor. I really do try to check out whatever he's doing. Um, and yeah, The Deep Blue Sea it's indefensibly bad. The CGI in it was bad even at the time. LL Cool J does a song about like called The Deep Blue Sea over the end credits. That's the most corny rap song you've ever heard. Like, there's no reason to like this movie, but yeah, I really enjoy it.
I had watched it a while back. I didn't realize they were trying to cure Alzheimer's. Though I didn't realize that
It's
was
all
the plot.
it's Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. I can't remember what they're doing. They're trying to
Probably
cure some.
Alzheimer's because that would kind of go with the memory thing, and I guess your
Yeah,
brain.
yeah,
Um, the Samuel L. Jackson's death is what, and if I remember correctly, that was really badly CGI'd.
yes, yeah.
I
But in the
it's been a
theater
long time.
when you watch it, it's so shocking you don't even notice the CGI. It's like I didn't
Oh
even
yeah,
notice it until about the third watch. I was like, oh wow, that's really bad. And then when you slow it down a bunch, you're like, whoa, that's what is
horrible.
there's like no texture. Like they had zero texture maps on anything back then. But I think that came out the same year as The Matrix too. So yeah.
Didn't didn't the shark eat like eat the parrot and then he like I think LL Cool J blew up a shark and the parrot escaped somehow. Am I remembering that correctly?
No, I
I
think
know
parrots.
he
I can't
I know
remember
he blew up a
about
shark.
they blow up a shark at the end. Because they're trying to they basically recreate the final scene in Jaws at the end of the movie. Because it's LL Cool J and Thomas Jane are the two survivors. I can't remember if the parrot lives or not.
I
I
feel like it lives because I'm the kind
that's
of guy who will get very upset if an animal dies, and I feel like I got really happy in the end.
okay. It's just because Thomas Jane lives and the heartless scientist woman is the one that actually dies. The one you think is they're going to allow to survive. But I think like Stellan Skarsgård is in it, and he gets his arm bit off, and they have to evacuate him. And they're dangling him from a helicopter. They don't pull him up. Shark jumps out and grabs the gurney that he's on and uses it to smash into the
Uh,
sea lab, and that's how it gets into the sea lab, and they swim around, kill people. It's so stupid. I love it. Yeah.
I need to go back and watch that. I forgot just how great that movie was.
Yes. It's
Uh,
indefensibly bad, and I love it. And I think a lot of people like it because it is a so bad it's good movie for a lot of people. But for me, I don't know. Maybe it was because the first time I watched it, I was in college, and it just it was fun. I've always Jaws has always been one of my favorite movies, and I love shark movies as long as they aren't Sharknado. Um, and so maybe that's why this one connected to me. Yeah.
I
Or
think
the Meg.
nostalgia is
I hate the Meg too.
right.
That was a
That
bad
is
movie.
crazy. I think nostalgia is part of what makes this list come together
I
for like
I
anybody.
th- I think that's a lot of my list. Yeah, and
Mine
it's
is
even
too.
it's going to get even more nostalgia in the next two. Yes.
My goal is to hopefully at least have one movie you haven't seen, although I've really only got one shot with that here.
Okay.
Um, my my number three is Grownups, and it's on this list because it's an Adam Sandler movie. Um,
So there you go. One I haven't seen.
you haven't seen Grownups? That was not the one I was picking.
No,
Um,
I have no interest in that.
I, it's basically designed to be the kind of movie I wouldn't like. It's a post Big Daddy Adam Sandler movie. It does a lot of like fart jokes and stuff that I find gross and unhumorous. And yet there's just something about it. It just has this kind of quirky family comedy vibe. It's so much different than, you know, I mean, we could talk forever about all the crap he's put out with Happy Madison, but it's not like Jack and Jill or Click or any of that other crap he's put out. But it's not quite to the level. Like I really enjoyed Big Daddy. I liked The Water Boy,
Yeah,
Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, those are fun back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, back when he wasn't just trying to get a paycheck. And this feels like it's kind of like he's not quite trying to get a paycheck, but he's not quite putting in the effort he was putting in like the early to late '90s. Um, and I think it's kind of a running theme with a lot of the movies on this list of mine is that there's nothing really unique about them. But it's just something like I can go back and watch it and be like, yeah, this is pretty good. And whereas Grownups 2 is utter trash. That's going much more in like the Jack and Jill direction. And
Uh,
if you haven't seen Jack and Jill, I will challenge you to watch that.
I thought we were going to do a one episode where we watched like 3 of his like really like Punch Drunk Love and
Mhm.
and some of his really good movies, and then 3 like Jack and Jill and what was the Ridiculous Six. Like we were going to watch like 3 of his like really bad films and 3 of his really good films and do like an analysis on
I will
how
happily do that.
how can someone make like such high art and such garbage. Yeah.
I will happily do that with you. That sounds like a wonderful project. But yeah, it's got all the Adam Sandler things like like he's got a bunch of his friends who kind of failed after they left Saturday Night Live. It's got Rob Schneider, David Spade, Chris Rock obviously wasn't a failure. Kevin James didn't fail.
Yeah.
Kevin James is doing he did fine. He didn't rise to the Sanders level, but I mean he did okay if you pretend that Paul Blart doesn't exist.
Yeah, I think out of that list, I think the only one that I really actually enjoy is Chris Rock. So I think that may be why I don't, I know a lot of people like Joe Dirt and things like that, but I'm like, it never really appealed to me.
I tried to like it. I don't understand any of the appeal of that. I really feel like Rob Schneider and David Spade both really tried to be like the 2000s version of Adam Sandler, and they both just kind of fell flat on their face.
Yeah.
Like I find neither of them. Both of them I do not find funny at all.
I will say I did like David Spade on Just Shoot Me. I forgot about that. He was good. I did enjoy that sitcom back in the day, but that's the only David Spade I think I really ever liked.
Although I do admit, every time I see the GIF of Rob Schneider doing the "You can do it," I still crack up to this day.
Well, that's just a classic moment in a great comedy. So I mean, yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
it's wonderful. But yeah, that is my number 3.
Okay, so my number 2 is a little bit like my number 5. It's 2 movies. So it's a movie called The Stuff, and then Cue the Winged Serpent. So these are both films by a guy named Larry Cohen, and he's notorious for making just incredibly low budget B genre films. And The Stuff is about these people are mining and they find this white yogurt-like substance that comes out of the ground, and it tastes wonderful. And so they package it up, and it's like lactose free, and it's super sweet, but also savory and delicious. It's the most delicious thing. And so all sorts of people just start eating it and nothing else. And it turns out that it takes over them, and it multiplies and it grows and it eats out their insides, and people are just flesh balloons filled with this stuff. And this ragtag team of people have to stop it. And then Cue the Winged Serpent is really just it's about Cue the Winged Serpent, and it's and this serpent comes back to life. I think it's supposed to be like an Aztec a dragon, and it's flying around New York, and it's just like picks up women that are sunbathing on the top of a building, and it eats half of them and drops other pieces everywhere, and it's just another, it like nests, I think, in like the top of the Empire State Building, and it's so cheap and low budget, but it's so wonderful. It's just like I remember watching this stuff on, back in the day we only had like 5 channels, and so I think the Fox station on Saturday afternoon would sometimes run this stuff. And so that was just, a Saturday afternoon when it was rainy. If the stuff came on, that was like, all right, we're getting to watch a horror movie today. And it was edited down, so there's no nudity and not too violent. So mom would let us watch it. And yeah, so I have a soft spot in my heart for those 2 films. And for really any film by Larry Cohen, I do get a kick out of his stuff.
Sure. I've really nothing to add. I know absolutely nothing about anything you just said.
I think the stuff might be good enough. We might have to add that to the list at some point in time. I might have to make you watch that. You can find that on like Tubi. Both of
Okay.
these movies are in like every free service out there. So
Right. I'm open to that. I'm open to that. All right. Well, my number 2 is Too Fast, Too Furious. It's kind of the movie of the Fast and Furious series that I think actually pushed it to really become a series as opposed to just a couple movies about cars. Um, it's kind of because they really didn't get to where they just screwed 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 physics hard until they got to like the fourth one. The third one was the one called Tokyo Drift, and that one was boring. It sucked. Um, and I thought the first one was kind of it was a decent film, but there was nothing too special about it. I can't even really fully put into words why I enjoy this movie. The cars are nice. I really think it's the like just the whole aesthetic. It's just a really nice movie to watch and look at. The cars are gorgeous without being just stupid. Um, there's a whole lot of silliness and how and kind of like how they solve problems, how they like solve the mission. It's very like stereotypical Miami TV, like the crooked cops, the simple drug deals and cubs. Um, I don't know. I can't pull into words, but I just love this movie. I don't know how many times I've watched it, but I just absolutely love it, and I hate every besides the first one. I hate every other movie in the series, but this
and
one is just
I'm a
awesome.
little bit the opposite of you. I saw Too Fast Too Furious in the theater,
Mhm.
and I wasn't really impressed by it. I remember really when it first came out, I loved the first one. I thought that was a lot of fun. That was a good movie. I rewatched it recently, and it's amazing how well it hasn't aged, the first one. Um, but I actually do kind of like the newest ones in a they're so bad they're good. Like I love
Yeah.
like they're chasing a nuclear sub and over and over in a frozen lake. Like it's so stupid. And then, yeah, they're dodging missiles
Right.
shot by the submarine. Like there are aspects of it that I kind of like. I felt in the last one when they went to space, I was like, all right, like maybe y'all didn't you should take yourself just a tad bit serious. Like that annoyed me a little bit, but I do actually enjoy them for being
I
stupid.
I think they've got aspects for me of too bad, so bad that it's good. I think it's just that once they took away, because like they've still got cars and stuff like that, but one like they don't really they don't really focus on the cars. The cars are just kind of there. Once they
Yeah.
took that away, it kind of felt like it just kind of became this just generic action series.
Yeah, I feel like
And
after Paul Walker passed away, I think that's really when they did that in the series. They stopped focusing on
uh,
the cars because even in some of those, the first one with The Rock, I think there were still some good car chases in it. But yeah, no, I'll agree with you on that.
I will say that there is an amazing scene. It might be the seventh one or the eighth one. It's one of the ones with the Rock, and the Rock's been in the hospital for like majority of the movie, and he decides that he
3.
needs to get back in action. Yeah, and he he's got this cast on, and instead of just doing some over the top thing of ripping it off, he literally flexes and
Yeah.
breaks the cast. And that right there just that made my entire day when I saw that. I was like, that they really cared that little. And they said, yeah, just flex that cast off.
Yeah, The Rock is an interesting character. He can, yeah. He's been in more bad movies, but I always enjoy his performances. He's just got that charisma.
He's so likable.
Yeah.
I want him to succeed in whatever he does. He is such a likable guy.
Yeah, I hate Black Adam. Like, I thought that was such a boring and
I haven't
mediocre
watched it.
film. And yet I was like kind of disappointed. I was like, I wanted better for The Rock. Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
If it were like John Cena, I wouldn't care. But I want The Rock to succeed.
Well, John Cena actually has the good comic book superhero. So
I heard he did pretty well. I haven't
the
watched.
Peacemaker is amazing. But yeah,
Mm.
we are good now. So that was your number 2.
Yep,
Okay, so we're due my number 1.
that's right.
Okay, so my number 1 is, again, it's a cheat. It's collectively all the Ernest movies. So Goes to Camp, Scared Stupid, Saves Christmas, and Goes to Jail. I love these movies. I love Ernest. I think Jim Varney is a comedic genius. Also recognize that these movies are not good. They're kind of indefensible. They're also made for children, and I'm a 42-year-old man and should no longer be watching these films, but I love it. There are days even when I'll just like put on like on YouTube, I'll go and hunt down the old commercials that Ernest used to do and just watch those. I just get a kick out of them. It's stupid, it's silly, and it feels, yeah, it just makes me feel warm inside. Just makes me feel happy. Just reminds me of when I was a kid, simpler time. So,
I remember always seeing these movies whenever we went to Blockbuster. I never actually watched any of them. They struck me as the kind of movies that I would either chuckle at or just not like at all.
yeah, I can't recommend them if if you didn't watch them as a kid. I cannot recommend them at all. Like,
I definitely think it's too late for me to be able to enjoy them, unfortunately, which sucks because he's definitely got a cult following that adores him.
yeah,
It's clear that he was talented enough to really bring a lot of joy to some people.
yeah. I mean, like my guitar is I named my guitar Vern. I have a sticker actually on the front of my guitar. Know what I mean? Like I do love Ernest. I think Jim Varney was a very underappreciated comedic genius. Not that these movies are necessarily the greatest things in the world, but I mean he had some real talent. On top of that, most of these I generally used to watch these a lot with Papa also. So it was like me, David, and Papa would sit around and watch these movies. And Papa used to tell David and I think he had different stories for all the different grandkids, but he used to tell us stories about 2 guys called Jim and Joe, and they were kind of bumbling idiots that would ruin things and get in trouble, and every story they just had a new adventure, and we thought it was the greatest thing, and we always wanted another Jim and Joe story. We loved them, and Jim and Joe were very much too earnest. Like it was almost like it was like Ernest and Pee Wee Herman. Like that was Jim and Joe, and so like I think another part of me loving Ernest is there's part of me that's also reliving those stories with Papa when I was a little kid, and how much he loved laughing at an idiot. Like that man could laugh at an idiot like no one else. So yeah. You froze up. Oh no. Looks like you got palsy the way you froze up. Hope you're okay.
There we are. There we are.
Okay.
It cut off at laughing at a idiot. So
Yeah.
I think I got the brunt of the message.
Yeah.
I guess Pee Wee Herman was probably my version of Ernest because I watched all the Pee Wees growing up. I loved him.
Yeah, and Pee Wee's stuff is a little bit more timeless, and it's, there's a little bit more artistry. I mean, like one of Pee Wee's movies was like directed by like Tim Burton. Pee Wee's Big
Yeah.
Adventure, I think, was directed by Tim Burton. So there's a lot more talent. There's a lot more timeless comedy.
He was definitely a lot more mainstream.
Right, and Ernest is hick humor, really. I mean, it's redneck humor.
It is.
I mean, like there's a whole sequence in Ernest Goes to Camp where he rolls around in poison ivy thinking that it's aloe. And I mean, like if you didn't grow up in living in the woods and you never got poison ivy, like you would never get that joke, so
right.
There are a lot of little things like that. Yeah. And of course I will say though, I think Scared Stupid does have kind of a cult following as like one of those fun family Halloween movies that people still like to watch. So I think that one actually I think still does have a following outside of his other films as like, oh, this is a special Ernest film. So if you ever wanted to watch one, I think that would around Halloween time, especially since your wife doesn't like scary movies, that might be one that y'all could the two of y'all could actually enjoy. So
that might be a good one to watch.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, my number one, so this might be another one you've never seen, or maybe even never heard of. Never Back Down. This is basically the OC meets UFC.
Is it? I'm trying to think of who the main actor is. This no, that's Red Belt with.
Main actor is a guy named Sean Ferris.
I know which one you're talking about because it's a very generic looking action film cover. Is he like a street fighter?
Yeah.
He's like a street fighter or something like that, right? Yeah. Okay.
Basically, yeah. It's
got
a street fighter vibe.
I don't know if I've watched this one. I think I did. I think it came out when I worked at Blockbuster. But yeah, go ahead and talk about it.
Amber Heard is actually one of the. She plays a 16-year-old girl as a 30-year-old somehow, and the basic cast, the basic plot is this.
Does she shit her bed in the movie?
Not in the movie, but I think in the deleted scenes she does. They had to cut that out.
She has that written into her contract here. Okay.
I mean, you do what you got to do. You do what you got to do to get that. But the basic plot is this tough but troubled teen has to move out of town with his mom to this high school where everyone is rich, everyone is sexy, everyone has the best car. He, of course, is poor. And by poor, they mean his mom can afford a pretty decent apartment on the salary she gets from dining in a restaurant. So they have no idea how the economy works. That's wonderful. He's strong. He plays football, and he comes across this kind of underground MMA scene where apparently all these high schoolers can fight on the level of like a George St. Pierre or a Anderson Silva. And he's got a lot of raw talent, but he doesn't actually know what he's doing. And Amber Heard's character takes a liking to him, but she's dating the hottest guy in school who's also the best fighter in the school. And fighting is how you get your name. Like, in High School Musical, no one cares about the quarterback. It's only if you can act. And like every school in a series or a movie where the focus is on whatever the main plot is. In this one, the kids who can fight are the coolest kids.
Yeah, it's like in Better Off Dead where it's skiing. If you can ski.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. And if you know anything about fighting, to actually be able to train that full time, it costs a lot of money. So basically he gets invited to a party at this stupidly absurd mansion that the popular kid, of course, lives at by himself because his parents are off doing parental business stuff or whatever. They don't actually explain it. He just has the house to himself. And the main character beats him up. Or I'm sorry, no, the villain beats up the main character. And then the main character decides he wants to fight to basically he does it for the girl, and he also kind of does it to overcome his demons because his dad died and it was kind of his fault, but it kind of wasn't. Also, it's very stupid and vague, and it doesn't matter because he goes from being some punk kid who can't really fight to being the best fighter in the entire area in a matter of about 3 months. The guy who trains him is Jimon Hunso.
Oh,
He was in the first Guardians, and I think he was also in Captain Marvel. In Guardians of the Galaxy,
yeah.
he was the one
I
at the
remember him
beginning.
in. He was in the Constantine movie. I remember that. He's in a lot of stuff. I do know
He is
that.
in
He's
Guardians.
in more than in just comic book movies. I do know that. But
Oh no, I know he is.
yeah,
I know in Guardians, when Peter Quill, it's like in the beginning,
yeah,
Quill gets to where he's getting that. I don't even remember what he's doing, but in like the first scene, he went to get an orb, and then a bunch of guys kind of stop him with their guns. Juwan was he was the main guy talking to him.
yeah,
Whenever Quill was like, "I'm Star Lord," he's like, "Who?"
yeah.
That was him. Um, so yeah, it's a very generic movie, very stupidly predictable. He's even got some dumb friend who keeps screwing up, but you still kind of love him anyways. Like everything about it is predictable, just completely transparent, and I have absolutely no reason to love it. But for some reason, I just love, and it's even got a bunch of like kind of teen pop rock like constantly plastered throughout it with like very like with all the lyrics they use are not even slightly vague. They're like basically telling you what to feel through song the entire way through the movie. It's just so cheesy and stupid, but I just get a kick out of it. I can't stop laughing. But at the same time, I'm not quite watching it in like a so bad that it's good. It's like I wouldn't want to watch it with anybody else. It's like just something that I need to enjoy by myself.
It sounds like a remake of Karate Kid.
It is. That's
Yeah,
exactly what it is. It is to the T. It is a rich, privileged, preppy Karate Kid
yeah. And then
because
even you describing the soundtrack as being like on the nose in terms of the lyrics and everything like that. I mean, that really does. It sounds like every 80s movie
mhm,
that was like a teen rivalry type movie. That's really what it's that
that
is
is the
a
perfect explanation for that movie. It
yeah,
is because every song in there, if you can think of just like any wannabe emo kid from like the early 2000s,
yeah.
the songs that somehow only spoke to them, those songs were in this movie.
Did you have you ever seen the movie Basketball? It's the
No,
Trey
I've heard.
Parker and Matt Stone. There's one scene in the middle of it. It's actually a pretty funny movie if you like the South Park type of humor. But there's one scene in the middle of the movie where I can't remember which character is driving, but one of them is driving in the car, and we're at the hero's journey point where he's at his lowest point,
Mhm.
and he hears this really inspiring like power ballad on the radio describing perfectly his life and everything that is going on with him to a T. And like even telling him you need to turn the car around by right now and go back and confront the bad guy. Like it's like perfectly, and it's that, yeah, it's that kind of on the nose music from 80s movies like that. Yeah. You might like basketball. I think you would.
That sounds like something to watch.
I think you'd get a kick out of it. Yeah.
I think I need to check that out. That sounds wonderful.
So that was our list of our guilty pleasures. So next we are going to do. We got 3 emails. So we're going to read our emails real quick. And then we will hopefully be done. And yeah, because my wife is texting me and I am keeping her up. So we're going to go a little bit quiet because she's right next door.
Sorry, April, I miss you.
Oh, I've headphones on. She can't hear you.
I know. I was saying for whenever she like eventually watches this.
She never will. Okay. So our first email tonight is from an apparent human named Jared Mayo. And he said, I watched your latest video, and I don't know which one. This is from February 6th, so I don't know which one that was, and was instructed to send you an email. I think this was from the email episode I did. I'm doing that now. Kevin seems to be whispering when he's talking. Is he recording when his wife is asleep? I think we've actually just answered that this very moment. Is Kevin being held prisoner? I would like Kevin to speak louder during the show. No, because she's already getting mad at me. And he'd also enjoy a more thorough discussion of Tina Turner's music catalog, which I don't.
That's a very fair request.
It is, but I don't think that's what this show is about. So we're going to deny that request.
But once we can kind of grow the audience and kind of branch out, maybe then we could do like a side show.
Yeah, we'll do our political commentary and Tina Turner reviews, analysis. Yes.
Together.
Yes. And the next email is from someone called Muscles by Mayo. And he says, the host with the beard speaks extremely soft, which you kind of have a little facial hair. He could be talking about you. I have my speakers up at I have my speakers up at full volume and still have a hard time hearing him. Well, I do this so that anytime I make a really bad cuss word, I have to put in an extremely loud sound over it, and it's basically it rapes your ears. Just something fun that I do, just so you're leaning in, and then it's like a jump scare. It's on purpose. Could he speak up? No, because my wife is trying to go to sleep and she's already mad at me. And yes. And then he asked for fitness tips and workout routines would be great for the next podcast. Well, we're not actually doing a podcast because we don't cast this to any pods. And
I will recommend though, whenever you're watching a new movie, just get into a deep squat and hold that for the entire movie.
There you go.
That's it.
Fitness tips right there. And
if you can't do it, then you're just not trying. So I don't know what to tell you.
And the next email is from the M6P. And he we've been trying to reach Kevin McVicker for 13 years because he won a Venom item in a contest. The prize is now forfeited. Better luck next time. If we could make a suggestion, maybe the bearded host could talk a little louder. And we like the X-Men. So, okay. So that's the M6P.
I've heard nothing about me, which means I can only assume that I've been completely flawless throughout this. So get like me, is all I can say.
I am trying.
I already gave you the secret to my workout. Deep squats and movies. This is why my wife will never take me to a theater. On her second date, she's like, "Honey, what are you doing?" Like, I'm doing what I've got to do. Do you want this rugged exterior? Then shut up.
We're gonna have to get a panned out shot of you next time, so we can see that rugged physique. So we are recording this. It's late at night, so we're going to call it for that. But next time, the movie we are doing is In the Mouth of Madness. I changed that. I think we were going to be doing Pieces prior, but out of respect to my co-host, I don't think he would enjoy that movie at all. I'm not going to put that upon him. In the Mouth of Madness is still a horror film, but at least it's not a gory slasher flick. So I think that'll be better. And then we're going to be talking video games about Chrono Cross. And we will decide whatever our top 5 is somewhere in between there. We'll figure it out. That'll be a surprise.
I think that can kind of be the surprise each month, so that people will keep coming back.
Yeah. It won't look like we're unprepared and unplanned. It'll look like it's a purposeful surprise. Yes.
There you go.
But thank you for anybody who actually decided to sit through and watch all of this. Thank you, and we will see you next time.
Sir. That was fun, man.
Yeah, it was.
You can do it!